Recording. Hi, everybody. We've got just a few seconds until we officially start at the top of the hour, because you know how I like to be prompt. But it's wonderful to have you all here. Those of you who are on Facebook, hi. Those of you who are here with me on Zoom, hi. Good morning, Lori. Lovely to have you here as always. Christine, it's a treat. And of course, I'm here with my team leader, Trusty Steed, best pal, designer of all things, right and left hand, Veronica Gazzardi. Hi, Veronica. She's muted herself. Okay, top of the hour. Let's do this. You ready? Hi, everybody. It's Sam Bennett from therealsambennett.com, and welcome to this, our weekly Facebook Live, Zoom, time to come together, time to get inspired, time to open up, time to find new ways of being in the world, time to find new ways of bringing your brilliance, your insight, your unique personality, your incredible gifts to the world in a way that helps you feel inspired and fulfilled. So hi, Clark, great to see you. Trusty Steed, yeah, that didn't come out right. It's the problem when you're improvising, you know, sometimes the words just come out and it's not quite what you mean, but you just got to keep going. That's what I say. Good, let's breathe, right? Let's start with our breathing. We always start with our breathing. It's an opportunity to center in to the center of yourself, to your own private space. There's a you inside of you that no one knows. There is a you inside of you that your family does not know, that your friends do not know, that no one, even you do not know. So we're going to sit outside the gates of that private, secret space right now and see if we can hear some whisperings from the other side, some inspiration. Maybe there's a guardian angel who's been trying to give you a message. Maybe you have a friend or colleague or family member who has died. They're on the other side of the veil and they're trying to whisper something in your ear. Or maybe it's just your own inner wisdom. Or maybe it's just silence. Whatever it is, see if you can sink into that place and allow yourself to be healed and transformed by your own wisdom. You ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do you hear it? Do you hear the silence? Do you hear the calm? Do you hear the invitation of that quiet calm? That's there for you all the time. I'm so glad you're here. As you can see, I am not in my normal office. I am visiting my family in Connecticut. So it's midday for me. It's springtime in Connecticut. It is gorgeous. The forsythia, the magnolia, the daffodils and tulips. Oh, I have to say, you know, I grew up in the Midwest where spring lasts for at least a day and a half before it gets really hot. But in California, we get spring, just not quite like this. So it's a real treat to be here. Hi, Nettie. Love you too. Hi, Lainey. Shirley, glad to see you. Wonderful. Good. Let's, why am I not seeing my own thing? Here we go. I asked earlier yesterday on the Facebook page, on the Secrets of Highly Productive Facebook page, which if you are not in that group, you should be in that group. Get in there. And if you are looking for a partner or a friend or an accountability buddy or some advice, or just you want to share a joke or a picture of your cats or anything you want, this group is so lovely and supportive. I know other people have problems with their groups. They're like, oh, we get trolls. Oh, people get nasty. I'm like, really? Because that has never once happened. Never once happened. We don't even hardly have to do any policing around self-promotion because you guys are so great about self-monitoring around that. So it's a beautiful group, and the more active you are, the more beautiful it gets. So even if you don't like Facebook, hop into this private group. No one outside the group can see that you're in it or what you post. And it's just a lovely way to connect with other highly creative, highly productive people. Veronica has put the link to the group in the chat. So yeah, so dive in there. But anyway, I asked yesterday what you wanted to talk about today, and a couple people shared this thing I'm sort of hearing a lot of, which is this kind of general malaise of like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to do anything. I'm uninspired. I'm tired. I feel like this should be over and it's not. And, you know, it was all, I don't know, it's not quite post-pandemic malaise, but something. Hi, Lucy, great to see you. So I thought a lot about that. And what I realized is the problem, part of the problem, is that you are telling yourself an old story. You're telling yourself an old story. You're trapped in an old story, and that is depressing and annoying and exhausting, right? And whether the old story is, I can't succeed, I don't have enough money, no one cares what I do, no one pays attention to me, I give and I give and I give, the world's passing me by, it's too late, I'm too sick, I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too funny, I'm too weird, I'm too something. Whatever that story is, and you know what your story is. This is not your first self-help rodeo. You guys are hip to yourself, right? So that's part of the problem, is that you are running some old stories inside of your head. And the only thing that ever changed the world is a new story. The only thing that ever changed the world is a new story. If you are a writer downer, write that down. The only thing that ever changed the world is a new story. And the only thing that's going to change your world is a new story. Now, I don't know what the story you've been telling yourself is, and I don't know what the new story you need to tell yourself is. For those of you in Get It Done Lab, like I do know some of that. We can talk more about that on Saturday when we meet. If you want me to get to know you and your story better, sign up to get on the waiting list for the next Get It Done Lab, and we can get like down and dirty about your projects. The people in the lab will tell you, I will not let you off the hook. You will do things that will make you uncomfortable. And you can find that at therealsambennett.com/lab, LAB like in boy. And it's just a wait list. It doesn't obligate you in any way, but it makes sure that we'll let you know when the next one is ready to enroll. So you're trapped in an old story. Can I get a little amen that I'm trapped in an old story? You want to type into the chat or into the Facebook comments of like, I can see that. Laura says, amen. Yep. Monica says, the too solid flesh would melt. Yes. Lee says, amen. Good. All right. That's what I thought. just wanted to check in and make sure you guys weren't all sitting there going, I don't feel that way. What's she talking about? Shirley says, amen. Yep. No, Joe Tosh says, amen. Thank you. Good. And if you want to make a little note to yourself about what old story you are trapped in, you know, if you've got a little voice tapping on the shoulder going, you're trapped in an old story that says you can't do this, or it's too late, or whatever it is, write it down, because you may want to make some 5-minute art about that once we're done here, right? You may want to explore some of that story. You may want to get a new perspective on that old story. Shirley says, egad. Yeah, right. But here's what I know about stories. You cannot change your story until you know where you are in the story. You cannot change your story. You cannot create a new story until you know where you are in the story, right? Some of you are, you know, at the revelation part of your story, and you're still treating yourself like you're at the very beginning, still deciding whether or not you're going to do it. Some of you are, in the abyss, in the deep Pluto underworld, Plutonian underworld, where your sense of self is dissolving and you're still acting like you're at the threshold. Do I cross the gate or not? Right? You see how misunderstanding where you are in the story is going to screw up your ability to transform the story? So I thought we might take a look at an old favorite, at the hero's journey. I just pulled this from Wikipedia. I did not, do anything to it or make it cute in any way. Let me see if I can share this now with you. Da, 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 da. Where is she? There she is. There. Can you all see that? So this is obviously a completely unromantic and not very precise, but perfectly serviceable version of the hero's journey, and it's in the public domain. So type 1 in if you can see this. Yeah. Just so I know you can see it. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So let's just briefly review the hero's journey and see if you can notice where you are in this journey. And that might help you understand what you need next and what your next steps are and what you can expect in the way of transformation, right? So we start at the beginning with the call to adventure. And sometimes that looks like a little whisper on the wind, just the tiniest intuition. Sometimes it is banging on the door with a hammer, with one of those big logs. What did they use to break down the castle doors? That call to adventure can be anything from, hey, did you want to come with Sam to Belize? Or, hey, did you want to take this class? Or, and sometimes it's an involuntary call to adventure. Battering ram. Thank you, Veronica. Brain fog. Sometimes it's an involuntary call to adventure. Sometimes the call to adventure sounds like you have this disease. Sometimes the call to adventure sounds like I'm leaving you. Sometimes the call to adventure sounds like you're getting evicted, right? But sometimes it comes in a beautiful envelope with glorious lettering, and it's very exciting. Oh, sometimes the call to adventure, it looks like, so my sister also has an animal named Archie. This is her Archie. This is Archie, the King Cavalier Charles Spaniel, the cutest boy in the world. Hi, sweetheart. Do you want to say hi to everybody? Okay. Yes, sometimes the call to adventure is a giant tax bill. Exactly. So, and this is where we remember that everything is an opportunity. Everything is an invitation. Even things that don't feel like opportunities or invitations are, in fact, doorways into a new world. Yeah, he's lovely. There's another one. There's a Maltese named Venus who's also here. Puppy, I know. But maybe you've already received the call to adventure. You're like, oh no, that happened. that already happened, Sam. So then what happens next? Some supernatural aid. And we're crossing now down into the unknown. We're leaving the known world. We're crossing into the unknown world. There's usually some dragons at the gate, right? The threshold guardians. And that can look like a second giant tax bill. That can look like a secondary diagnosis. That can look like, missing the flight, like some other horrible shit show, right? But again, we don't understand this. The dog's legs fall off, right? You start the journey of transformation and often everything falls apart, or it feels like everything's falling apart. That's because you're headed into the unknown. And on the other side of the threshold, we meet both your mentor and your helper, right? So your mentor has some wisdom that you don't have. Your helper is the sidekick who also has some wisdom you don't have and is there to aid and abet you. Have you found your mentor? Have you found your helper? And they can be people, they can be animals, they can be supernatural entities. You tell me, it's your story. And then, see this long part of the journey under here? This is the unknown part that is challenges and temptations. This is the rocky, rocky road where we're trying to figure out where we're going, what's happening. This is the journey. This is the slog. This is the messy, messy middle, right? And it's up and it's down and it's dead ends and sideways and loop-de-loops. but this is the doing of it, right? This is in school getting your master's degree. This is building the house. This is rehearsing the show. This is the process, the creative process. And most of you are very familiar with this part, but it can feel really long and hard, right? You're on the journey, but you've lost sight of where you started. Like you're gone too far to go back, and you can't see the end yet. It can be exhausting. And if you think about the movies that you love that follow this hero's journey closely, you'll notice that sometimes there's a little lightness, something nice happens. There's a treat, there's a comic, a little comic break, a little sidekick moment, a little song, a little dance, something. So if you are in the challenges and temptations part, God bless you, because it's a hard road, but at least you're in it, right? You're in it and you're doing it. And then we hit the bottom of the circle, the abyss, death and rebirth. But first, death. This is where it all falls apart. This is where your ego breaks open. This is where you say, I don't know anymore. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know why I started to get this degree. I don't know why we're rehearsing the show. I don't know who this person is that I said I would marry. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who the fuck I am or what the fuck I'm doing here. And it is only when you drop your sense of control, your ego attachment, and you stand there naked and say, okay, let's do this your way. I give up. I give up. It is only then that rebirth is possible. And we've all had these moments. I remember one time being curled up on the carpet in a condo in Sandburg Village in Chicago, just desolate. I was crying my heart out. And I sobbed and sobbed and sobbed until my throat was raw, until there was nothing left of me. And the TV was on, and I had started to have this breakdown, and I just never turned the TV off. So I started to I was exhausted. I'm curled up on the carpet. And I see this TV, it was one of those big TVs, and there's a car commercial. And I thought, I bet there's a lot of people curled up on the carpet screaming and crying with a car commercial in the background. And that thought really cracked me up. It still cracks me up. Like, I'm sure I'm not the only one that this is happening to right now. And it turned a corner, right? I got up, I got a drink of water. I moved on. We're getting a note that the Frozen 2 is a great example of the hero's journey, and apparently there's a good joke about Samantha, so now I'm gonna have to watch it. Shirley says, I don't know who I am or what I'm doing here. Right, exactly. So stop pretending like you do. Stop pretending like it's okay. Stop pretending like you've got it handled. If you're in the abyss, drop it, drop everything, because everything's gonna burn away anyway. This is where you toss a lot of gasoline around, light a match, see what burns. Get rid of the old stuff. It's not serving you. Get rid of the old ideas. It's not serving you. Get rid of the old identity. It's not serving you. And it's standing in the way of what is next. Lori says, I'm good at the beginning, but I leave at the abyss. Right. So that's only half the journey. So we surrender, and we remember that surrender is not giving up. Surrender is giving in. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is giving in. Surrender says, okay, so I'm a person who's not married anymore. Okay, I'm a person who's living with this ailment or illness or disease. Okay, I'm this old. Okay, I have this relationship with this person, or I don't have this relationship with this person. Okay. We accept. We don't have to like it. But you got to sit there for a minute. because you can't rush to the next part. You got to sit there for a minute. You actually have to let yourself die a little. Because next comes the transformation. Next comes the moment where you transcend, where you have a new understanding, where you are reborn. Now, we've just come through Easter in the Christian calendar, right? And that's this story all over the place, right? The abyss is Good Friday, transformation is Easter Sunday. And it's glorious. It's glorious. It's not always peaceful. It's not always fair. It's not always what you thought it would be. In fact, it's almost never what you thought it would be. But it is a transformation. And you start to breathe differently and experience the world differently because you have been transformed. And when you are transformed, the world around you transforms. You are giving people something different to interact with, so they will interact with you differently. And then we have the atonement, the at-one-ment, right? Which is the reckoning, the coming together of all things, the understanding that everything is everything, that everything is just one thing, that you are an indisputable, unignorable, essential part of the world. You are needed and necessary, and energy is never destroyed, only transformed. And at this point, we often want to stay there, right? We're transformed. We're seeing the oneness of all things. We can take a deep breath. The world gets beautiful again. And we want to stay. But we can't, because it's a journey. So we get the call to return to the known world. And sometimes we will refuse that return. Like, no, I'm not leaving. I'm staying in Oz. Screw everybody. But you can't. It is part of your joy and part of your obligation as someone who has learned something to return to the known world and to teach it to others. Live it as an example. You don't have to teach it. You have to live it. Right? So you return as the master of two worlds, the mistress of two worlds. You now straddle life and death. You know what it is to die, and you're not afraid anymore. You're not afraid of divorce. You're not afraid of illness and death. You're not afraid of losing this person or that person, because you know that nothing is ever really lost. And then what happens? The next call to adventure. And it all starts again. So think about where you are on this journey. Are you right at that very beginning where you're like, I think something's changing and I don't like it? You know, are you there on that long road of challenges and transformations? Are you right down there in the belly of the whale? Or are you emerging? Springtime, the return. And how can you do and be different? Do things differently? Get different results now that you know what you know? I'm going to end this screen share and come back to this. How are you all doing with this? How is this landing? How are you feeling? What's going on? Clark says, call down the power anytime. It's always there waiting. It was activated by artists of the past and available to you. Yes. Yes. Amen. Beth says, loving it. Good, Beth. Good. I'm glad. Beautifully explained. Thanks, Lainey. Wow, makes sense, right? Right. And this is true too. If you're stuck in your, maybe you're not stuck, but maybe your project is stuck. Maybe you're stuck in the middle of a draft of a book, or you're stuck in, how to end your screenplay. Well, I can almost tell you, I can tell you 100% the ending of your screenplay is found in the beginning of your screenplay. It has to come full circle. It always does. You know, if you don't know, and this, you know, Campbell teaches us, and I mean, there's some dispute about it, but that this journey is so, it's practically part of our hardware. It's part of who we are as human beings. This is the story we tell over and over and over and over again. I will also tell you, PS, by the way, for those of you who are in business, for those of you who have services that you're marketing, where is your client on this journey? At what point in the journey are you marketing to them, right? Are you talking to the baby beginners who are only having the very faintest idea that they might want to do XYZ? Are you talking to people who are about to step into the unknown? Are you talking to people who are really who are ready to give up because they've lost everything? Are you helping people reemerge into the world? Where are you helping them? And I'm telling you right now, if you communicate to them in that, with that language, you can charge anything you want. They will throw their credit cards at you because you will be speaking to not just their heart, not just their soul, but their very DNA. Doesn't have to be hard. Doesn't have to be complicated. Marketing does not have to feel weird or salesy. Marketing just education. Marketing just says, hey, if you're at this point in the journey, I might be able to help you. Let's talk about it. And the right people will say, can we talk about it right now? And the wrong people won't even know you exist. So you never have to worry about bothering people. Hi, Leslie. Great to see you. Linda says, this is an old recurring story. How do old stories versus new stories fit into this? Right, so you can go around this circle with your old story, right? What did you used to believe? What are you stuck believing about yourself? Well, here's the threshold. How can we start to transform this? Do you need to sign up for a dance class? Do you need to go on Tinder? Do you need to, you know, what's the activation? What's the activation step that can move you from your old story? You know, how can you start to work on it? You know, that trials and things, that's time at the gym. That's, you know, that's putting in those 10,000 hours. And, you know, it can feel at those times like this isn't working, nothing's helping, but you should keep showing up anyway because you care about the journey, right? And, you know, Clark says, maybe sometimes listen to music from high school to get you back in the anything's possible youthful mindset. That's a great idea. I love that idea. You know, buy something new, try on a new outfit, literally a new outfit. This is, oh, I'm about to embarrass myself so much. Okay. You know, when Luke and I were first dating, he's the only person I've ever been with who really likes it that I'm tall. I mean, I've never been with anybody who minded, but Luke really digs it. And like, sometimes we'll be standing on a, you know, waiting for a light to change and he'll step off the curb and look up at me and be like, this is what it'd be like if you were really tall. And I'm like, you're pervy. But we were in a you know, big shoe store one time and I tried on one of those like 5-inch stiletto heels and I put it on and immediately felt like nauseated. Like I am now officially a monster because I'm 5'11", right? So I put on 5-inch shoes. I'm 6.5 feet tall. And I'm like, I feel uncertain. I feel huge. I feel like an ogre. I feel like a monster. And Luke is looking at me like, you're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I was like, I clearly have some work to do. Me just trying on these shoes for a giggle led me into a whole little journey around my self-image, around some stuff I thought I had worked out years ago. Right? So go try on some new shoes. That's my advice. And find the people who celebrate you, who support and respect and love and celebrate you. Not everybody in your life knows how to support you. They love you. They don't know how to support you. Move to a new town, change your name, start a new life. Been there, sure, if that's what it takes. But it can also just be a very slight adjustment inside of yourself. You know, my colleague David Nagel says you're 1 degree away from everything you want. Right? Price Pritchett in the book, I think it's Price Pritchett, in the book You Squared, which if you haven't read, you should. It's very, very slim volume. Starts the book with the image of a fly banging against the screen door, right? Trying to get out, trying to get out, trying to get out, trying to get out. And if the fly just altered their trajectory by this much, they could just zoom right out the door. The door is ajar. The window is open. You're just banging yourself around against the wrong part of it. So sometimes it requires moving to a new town, changing your name and starting a new life, but sometimes it just requires a little 1 degree shift. So look at where you are in this hero's journey. Like I said, if you want to make some 5-minute art around whatever your old story is, right? And that's when I say 5-minute, make some 5-minute art, I mean, grab a ballpoint and a piece of typing paper, you know, and just scribble. What is the feeling like? What does it feel like? What does it seem like? What does it look like? What is the shape of it? What is the color of it? Make a cartoon, stick figures, fine. No one's ever going to see it. Make up a song, make up a dance. It doesn't have to be a drawing, but nothing too cerebral, right? Just get the feeling out so you can gain a new understanding of that old story and start to tell a new story, because we need your stories. The only thing that ever transformed the world, your world, is a new story. And the only thing that's going to transform this world is a new story. You start living that new story, you're going to change the world. All right. You all are the best and the smartest and the prettiest. I like you the most. Thank you so much for being here. Veronica, you are, as ever, really just like the best person I know. I was talking so sweet about you behind your back the other night to my dad, and I was showing him all the mugs in our store, and he was like, well, these are very impressive. I was like, thank you. It's all Veronica. So thank you so much, everybody. I'm so glad you're here, and I can't wait to see what happens next. You ready to do one more breath? Good. Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here. Invite a friend. See you next week. Bye.